More details on the planned upcoming meeting between AEW President Tony Khan, CM Punk, Chris Jericho, and others as CM Punk's return to All Elite Wrestling grows closer and closer. Could Goldberg be on his way to All Elite Wrestling? Well, he's spoken about his free agency and his frustration that Vince McMahon didn't follow through on a handshake deal to give Goldberg a retirement match in World Wrestling Entertainment. Fascinating comments by the WWE Hall of Famer. AEW Rampage has done its best viewership number since September 2021 with last week's episode. We got details on that. Plus, one New Japan Pro Wrestling star will not be competing at Forbidden Door this year. We'll reveal who that is. Will Ospreay has opened up on his friendship with AEW Women's World Champion Jamie Hayter. Pat Buck is going to wrestle an AEW televised match this evening. We've got details on that. The Mogul Embassy are teasing more members to be introduced soon. Mercedes Monet gives a big update on her future amid rumours her New Japan Pro Wrestling and Stardom contract is close to expiring. And Tony Khan meets Vladimir The Super Fan. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of All Elite Wrestling. Let's start off talking about who else but CM Punk, Chris Jericho, Tony Khan, the upcoming meeting, and an interesting tidbit this evening, some more details on when actually is this meeting going to happen. Now, there's been these rumors and reports that CM Punk's going to be returning on the June 21st episode of AEW Dynamite, or in and around that period of time. AEW will be in Chicago at the Wintrust Arena. It's the final two shows, that being Dynamite and Rampage, before the New Japan Pro Wrestling and AEW Forbidden Door pay-per-view in June. There's also been speculation that Punk could make his return on the debut episode of AEW Collision, that being the upcoming Saturday show, which is still yet to be announced. But prior to then, we've got to have this meeting. Tony Khan, CM Punk, Chris Jericho, FTR, possibly others, to see even if all of these people can work with each other. Now, Chris Jericho has been rumored to be CM Punk's first feud upon returning to All Elite Wrestling, kind of playing off their real-life issues that they have. But they've still got to discuss, are we going to get on? Can we do business together? Can we act professionally with each other? So this meeting has to take place. So a little bit of clarification has emerged regarding the planned meeting between CM Punk, Tony Khan, Chris Jericho, and more AEW names. As reported previously, the main idea behind the meeting is to see if CM Punk and Chris Jericho working together is a viable option going forward in AEW. AEW is said to be planning a new Saturday night show, likely called Collision, which Punk would be the top star of, and there'd be somewhat of a soft, but according to some, quite hard brand split of sorts in place, so people who don't like each other can stay away from each other, and they're split between Dynamite and this new Saturday show, which is expected to be on TNT, and it's expected to be a 2-hour show from 8 to 10. One thing that's been unclear so far is when the aforementioned meeting between Punk, Jericho, Khan, and others will actually take place. Now, in the latest update, Dave Meltzer reports that at least as of last night, that being April 17, 2023, the meeting hadn't happened yet. There was no further details beyond that, but at least it's some clarification on where things are up to right now, because there's a lot of information out there, there's a lot of guesswork out there, there's a lot of reporting out there saying this meeting is going to happen. But as of right now, we still don't know an actual date of when it's going to happen. The only date we really have is June 21st, that being in Chicago, Wintrust Arena for Dynamite, in and around that period of time. Now, Meltzer had included that FTR was on the list of names planned to be in the meeting with Punk, Khan, and Jericho, and potentially some others who haven't been named as of right now. One would assume that AEW's Chief Legal Officer, Mega Parek, would be involved in this as well. This is only speculation, but it would seem likely if Punk and Jericho can agree to work together, that could end up being Punk's first big feud to kick off the new show, which at this point is supposed to be presented on the same level as AEW Dynamite, but at the same time, so was AEW Rampage, and we see what that's like now, even though they've done the best ratings they've done in close to 2 years last week. Now, as Fightful reported, Punk is expected to make his return sometime around the June 21st episode of AEW Dynamite, which takes place, as I mentioned, at the Wintrust Arena in his hometown of Chicago, Illinois. It's been mentioned that it's possible that Punk's return will be announced ahead of time rather than being a surprise, possibly being announced at the Warner Upfront on May 17, and that would make sense to be in conjunction with an announcement of a new show as well. They could sort of do a bit of a double whammy, saying AEW Collision is coming later this year, and it's also going to feature the return of CM Punk on this date, and then they get a big rating, a lot of hype, and they kind of set everything up from there. Now, Andrew Zarian of the Wrestling Observer reported that Warner Bros. Discovery has been told Punk will be returning, and they're well aware of the situation and ongoings right now in All Elite Wrestling. So that's kind of the latest on that. Of course, as I mentioned, this is a developing story. It's going to be one of the biggest stories of this summer, I feel, and we're going to do everything to cover it. There's a lot going on this channel at the moment. We're going to be doing draft watch-alongs, draft post-shows, all that fun stuff. Some really exciting stuff coming later on this year. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. It's a big year for Wrestle News 365. Let's talk about Bill Goldberg. Yes, Bill Goldberg on an AEW video. I thought I'd never be talking about this, but indeed, Goldberg's a free agent. WWE Hall of Famer Goldberg, as I mentioned, is currently on the free agency list after his WWE contract expired last year. At the end of last year, his last match was against Roman Reigns at Elimination Chamber, really at the beginning of 2022, actually. Now, fans have since speculated about where, if anywhere, Goldberg could end up next, with some fans speculating about a potential final run in All Elite Wrestling, which again would be pretty apropos considering he made his debut on all of these Warner Bros. Stations such as TNT and TBS on Monday Night Nitro and WCW Thunder back in the day, so kind of it would make sense maybe if he ended career where he kind of started it, even if it's not in the same company. Now, Goldberg appeared on 93.7 The Ticket, where he addressed his wrestling future and dropped some very interesting tidbits. He said, quote, "I'll stop the rumor mill right now. The reason the rumors are out there is because Vince McMahon and I had a handshake understanding that after the Roman Reigns match that I would have a proper retirement match, and that hasn't come to fruition through them, and therefore nobody puts a stamp on my career. Nobody tells me when I'm done. Period. End of story. When somebody tells me that, I kind of like to fight against it. I like to do things my own way. I go out my own way, and I certainly don't go out under Roman Reigns 3 weeks after I have COVID-19 and agreed to do a match. If I go on a world tour and promote myself, that's a possibility. Hey, I'm a businessman, and I'm fortunately, I'm in the position I firmly believe to where I can still make it happen. At the end of the day, like I said, I do believe that my character deserves a proper send-off. Until that happens, man, I don't believe I'm hanging them up, Anything and everything is an option. I'm very much leaning towards promoting it myself and doing a 4-city world tour, so let the rumor mill start up after that. Goldberg has reportedly had offers from multiple companies, including a match in Israel. Tony Khan even also himself commented on the ideas and said that he was looking very closely at Bill Goldberg's status. So Goldberg on TNT or TBS once again. Would you like to see it? Does Goldberg fit in AEW in 2023? Does Goldberg fit anywhere in 2023? Let me know your thoughts on this one in the comment section below. Now, I mentioned Rampage. Obviously, usually the story when it comes to Rampage ratings is that they're not that great. But last week, they were pretty damn good. Per Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics, Rampage drew 639,000 viewers. This is up from the April 7th edition that drew 340,000 viewers. Now, this is the highest total viewership for the show since the September 24, 2021 episode. For reference as well, AEW Rampage only started in, August 2021? So we're going back to the real early days of this show actually being in existence. In the key 18 to 49 demographic, Friday show scored a 0.21 rating. This is also up significantly from the week prior that scored a 0.10 rating. This is the highest demo rating for the program since the April 15, 2022 edition. AEW ranks number 7 on cable in the demo for the evening. Now, it must be said, this wasn't AEW on their own backs. They had a very, very favorable and strong lead-in. The ratings boost came largely thanks to the big audience from the Chicago Bulls versus Miami Heat NBA game that took place on TNT prior to Rampage airing. In fact, AEW were expecting a strong rating, really because of the NBA. The big question is, what's it going to be next week? Next week, are we going to see Rampage dip back down again? Most likely. Or could we see them maybe possibly sustain these kind of numbers? We'll have to wait and see. It kind of depends what happens on Dynamite this week, I guess. Now, the show featured Aussie Open defeating Best Friends to retain the IWGP Tag Team Championships, and Jungle Boy Jack Perry scoring a victory over Shawn Spears in the main event. So again, good numbers for AEW Rampage this week. Now, Forbidden Door is on the horizon, but one star isn't going to be there. One name who may not be end up being part of the show is New Japan Pro Wrestling star and United Empire member Aaron Henare, who spoke on the Shining Wizards podcast, revealing he won't be part of the show. He said, quote, With all of those, Forbidden Door all in, all together again, especially all the events around the world. It's a wrestler's market right now. All the fans have been locked down with the same people in every different area for the last 3 years. There is a demand for wrestlers reaching out and going everywhere, although there is one thing more important to me in June than Forbidden Door. I've actually requested to not be in Japan or America for that one. I'll be going back to New Zealand for something quite special. I won't spoil it yet. It probably doesn't mean much to anyone outside of New Zealand. The WWE fans who are following Roman Reigns and the Usos right now will probably understand it. It's important. It's going to make life hell in Japan, but it's important. If they need me for Forbidden Door, I'm going to be asking for that big fat guarantee to leave New Zealand. All out and all together. I'd definitely love to be part of those. So he's not going to be part of that show for something that he's doing in New Zealand. Will Ospreay has opened up about his friendship with AEW Women's World Champion Jamie Hayter ahead of the AEW New Japan Forbidden Door 2023 event. Many fans have been sharing their dream interpromotional matches they want to see happen at the event. Dark Perosu Flocion added an interesting team to the conversation, pitching for Ospreay to team with Hayter at some point in the future. Ospreay spoke highly of Hayter in his reply, stating that she truly deserves all of her success. Discussing his relationship with Hayter, Ospreay tweeted, quote, "We actually have a wonderful friendship. We were living in Japan together, watched shows, partied, housed her when COVID hit, comforted her after when she couldn't re-enter Japan, saw a bunch of people count her out. To see her now makes me so happy. She truly deserves it." Many are predicting that an IWGP United States Championship rematch between Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay will eventually be added to the Forbidden Door card, with Ospreay set to compete in the number one contenders tournament. Ospreay will face Hiroshi Tanahashi in tournament action at New Japan's Resurgence event on May 21st. The winner of this match will face off against Lance Archer in the tournament finals at Dominion. While the date for the winner's title bout hasn't been announced, it's been heavily speculated that the bout will feature on the Forbidden Door card on June 25th. Even when they announced this tournament, this number one contenders tournament, the kind of graphics they use look very Forbidden Door-ish. So the expectation is that it's probably going to be Ospreay versus Omega in that match. Now, this is quite an interesting one as well. Former WWE backstage producer and current AEW coach, producer, whatever you want to call him, Pat Buck, is going to be wrestling on AEW television this week. On tonight's episode of AEW Dark, Buck will make his AEW Dark debut, wrestling his first match on a show against Juice Robinson. This will be the first time that Buck has wrestled for the company on programming. Buck currently serves as AEW's Vice President of Talent Development. He joined the company in April 2022 after leaving WWE. Buck notably worked on the main event of WrestleMania 38 before leaving the company and joining AEW. He previously wrestled for AEW at the House Rules house show against QT Marshall. So if you want to see Pat Buck wrestle inside of an AEW ring, tonight's your lucky night. You can see it on YouTube. The Mogul Embassy is the latest faction in AEW, and AEW star Prince Nana has commented on the formation of Mogul Embassy, teasing more members for the faction. On the April 7th edition of Rampage, the Mogul affiliates and the Embassy joined forces, with Swerve Strickland, Brian Cage, and Prince Nana ambushing Darby Allin. Speaking on the sessions with Renee Paquette, Prince Nana teased that over the next 6 months, more affiliates will be brought into the picture. He said, quote, "It's a beautiful thing to see Ring of Honor go from a company that a lot of people don't know. I did a lot for that company behind the scenes as well. To see it go from being what it was to what it is today, almost like a cornerstone for the rest of the major companies and in the world. So I'm just glad to see that doing well. Glad to be back as one of the cornerstones in the company. Out of everyone that's on that roster, I think I was able to bring the most characters to the company and continue to bring that character to the company in a different way with beasts like Brian Cage and Gates of Agony, who are killing it now as the six-man World Tag Team Champions. And then on the flip side of things, with cool, calm, and collected Swerve Strickland. Let me tell you something. I've known Swerve Strickland his whole career, and to see him go from, hey, how are you? Hey, hi, how are you, sir? Nice to meet you, sir, to who he is today, unbelievable. So proud of him. He's going to be a problem. He's going to be a problem in the wrestling industry. Give it 6 months of what we have planned and what we are going to put together, and the affiliates we have that we have involved, that we are going to be bringing into the picture, Renee. And certainly, he's teasing more members to their faction. What members would you like to see added to the Mogul Embassy? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about that. Now, Mercedes Monet, there's been a lot of speculation about her future in Japan, and it might be that her future is based permanently in Japan. After months away from the ring, Monet made her return to wrestling away from WWE at New Japan's Wrestle Kingdom 17 in January. She made her in-ring comeback a month later at New Japan's Battle in the Valley event, defeating Kairi to become the IWGP Women's Champion. There's been a lot of speculation about Monet's future following reports that her next title defense is her final match on her current agreement with New Japan/Stardom. While some believe that Monet Monet will extend her deal with the Japanese promotions, others have predicted she'll make a highly anticipated AEW debut, or there's even the possibility that Monet could return to WWE if she and her former home can agree on terms. The CEO has now shared a series of posts to her Instagram story that have many convinced she plans to remain with New Japan and Stardom. Monet shared a photo of a sign for the Tokyo School of Japanese Language with the caption, quote, "Time to learn." In another post overlooking a balcony, Monet indicated she wants to stay in Japan, writing, quote, "Definitely moving full-time to Japan." Mercedes Moné will defend her IWGP Women's Championship against Mayu Iwatani at All-Star Grand Queendom on April 23rd. So, as of right now, looks like Moné's very much enjoying her time in Japan, and maybe she's going to be moving there full-time. Finally, Tony Khan with a fun social media post here. Vladimir The Super Fan is one of the most famous and beloved wrestling fans ever, basically. Vladimir had attended many WWE events in the 1980s, 1990s, with WWE even producing a documentary on his life, which unfortunately hasn't been released right now, which sucks because I would love to see that documentary. However, Vladimir isn't just a WWE superfan, it must be said, as AEW President Tony Khan took to Twitter to share a photo and his experience of meeting up with Vlad. He said, quote, "At age 8, on the first pay-per-view I ever watched live, I saw a fan who seemed to be having such a great time at the live event. At age 12, I joined the IWC and learned that his name was Vlad, and he's a very nice guy. It was an honor to meet him in person. Thank you, Vlad, you're the man." So certainly Tony Khan meeting up with Vladimir the Superfan, and if WWE you ever come across this, which you're probably not, and you probably never will, but I'll say it anyway, release the documentary. You'll want to see it. So there you go, guys. It's the latest AEW news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.